Do you want to know the best ways to make gold in Sea of Thieves? Because in this video, I've put together the top 5 best ways to earn gold in 2025. In this video, I'm going to go through each one, explaining the fastest way to complete each, and explaining any requirements for each method, allowing you to find a method that you like, and allowing you to easily replicate it for yourself. I've ranked the methods in order from least to most gold per hour. However, some of these are going to be harder for newer players or solo players, so stick around so you can find a method that suits your play style the best. While all of these methods can be done with any crew type, I'll be giving you each one a recommended crew size, which is going to help you decide which will suit you the best. So let's start with number 5 on the list, Sea Forts. I've covered Sea Forts quite a few times, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, but here's a quick overview if you don't know the best way to do them. First step is to make sure you have a Reaper's flag raised, as Sea Forts are going to give you a range of different loot types, so in order to get a good bonus on everything, we need to make sure we sell our loot to the Reaper's hideout with this flag raised. These two Sea Forts found south of the map are going to be the ones that we farm for this method. To sail here or dive on the Cursed Rogue Tall Tale, which will place you straight at Plunder to arrive at the Sea Fort. Head to the first fort here, make sure you park your boat in this spot, facing this door here, and use the throwing knives to begin taking out the ghost. While doing so, make sure to keep an eye out for the storeroom key, which is going to unlock a room at the top of the fort, which is going to contain some bonus loot. Eventually, once you take out enough ghosts, you're going to reach the boss. He's not that strong. If you do the overhead attack with the throwing knife, you're going to only take him out in a few hits. Take the key down to the vault and move all the loot to this spot here, so it can be easily harpooned by the boat. This is so you don't have to mess around with this platform thing, as a lot of new players believe this is the best place to put it, but it's just not. After completing this, harpoon all the loot, and you can now head to the next Sea Fort, found straight west. It's going to be the exact same process as the previous fort. Take out the ghost, then the boss, and then loot when you're done. Now the good part is in the time that it took us to complete this second Sea Fort, the original one has been fully refreshed and restocked for loot. So instead of sailing all around the map, just go back to that original Sea Fort, which is a far shorter travel distance and is going to save you a bunch of time. Doing this Sea Fort method is one of the most straightforward on the list, so I'd recommend this for a duo or solo crew. If you want the most gold per hour and run the Reaper flag, I'd probably recommend having a second person with you on the slope, just because you're going to be a target on the map, and if anyone wants to sink you, they're definitely going to come for you. However, if you're solo and want to give it a go, just do a gold hoarder flag or something simpler, which is going to mean less gold, but no one's going to be able to see you on the map, so you'll be far safer. This Sea Fort run gives around 200 to 250k per hour if you can bounce between them fast enough, so definitely not a bad option for a smaller crew or newer players. And number 4, I've given it to Legend of the Veil. This is the pirate legend quest that is probably the most enjoyable and well-made quest in Sea of Thieves. The quest is going to have you go out and find 3 veil stones, which are placed on a mast by the wheel of your boat. There are going to be 3 possible sections for this quest, and you're only going to get 2 of these for each time you do it, which is going to give you a bunch of replay value. The sections are Shipwreck, which you guessed it, you search shipwrecks to find the stone, Bell, which is going to have you battle ghosts to get the stone, and Suds, who's going to give you a puzzle to dig up a veil stone. And each time you do the quest, you only get 2 of these, which is just randomly selected. After finding 2 stones, a tornado is going to appear, which will contain the final stone for your quest. Head over, take down the 3 defense towers before taking down the middle main fort. While you do need to be pirate legend for this quest, in my opinion, it's the most enjoyable on the list, and it has great replay value. Once you get the hang of it, a single run should take around 45 minutes. The best I ever did was about 30, and it gives anywhere between 150 to 200k per fort, depending on how much extra Athena loot you find along the way, resulting in around 200 to 250k per hour, which again just massively depends on how much loot you find along the way, and if you get Shipwreck, it's going to give you a lot more. But overall, definitely a quest worth grinding for a while to farm some decent gold, but I wouldn't recommend it for solos, as the tornado can give you some unwanted attention, so make sure you got a bigger crew like Joy or Brig. However, the choice is up to you. For number 3, I've given it to skeleton camps. These new camps recently added during season 13 are without a doubt one of the best ways to farm gold if you're a solo player who wants a low risk and simple method to farm gold without much risk of finding other players. So let me explain. To start this method, we need to first have a level 5 emissary flag, which can be for any company, so choose whichever one you need to level up the most. You can reach level 5 however you want, but I think it's easiest to do a raid voyage, ideally the skeleton fleet, but just be sure to have a level 5 however you prefer to do it. After level 5, we're going to dive to this tall tale on the quest table called the Cursed Rogue, which is going to put you right at Plunder again, which is directly next to a skeleton camp. To complete the camp, light the thing in the middle and begin finding the 3 patterns shown on the pillars. Once you've connected all 3, a few waves of skeletons are going to spawn before a boss who's very weak, and you can even use some of the kegs that spawn in the room to take him out faster. Open the door, collect the orb, and you can then take the orb straight back to Plunder, as it's literally right next to it. After selling the orb, you can then dive on the same tall tower as before, as by the time you finish, the diving cooldown will be finished. And doing this is going to place you on a new server with a camp that has no cooldown. It's ready to be completed again, which means you can infinitely farm these as much as you want. Each orb is going to sell for 50k when counting an emissary bonus, so depending on how long you take for each camp, you should be able to do about 5 or 6 per hour, which is going to be around 300k per hour. And seeing how often you're going to be changing servers, it's going to drastically lower the odds of anyone running up on you. So I would highly recommend this method for solo players. This method is going to be your best friend for earning gold if you're not interested in being a high target on the map. Speaking of high target, next on the list is going to be the Burning Blade, added in season 13 and it's taking the number 2 spot. The only problem is that this is a world event, so it's going to take a while to start this method, as you're going to have to keep leaving and rejoining servers until you can find one that has a Burning Blade in it. Once you see its beacon in the sky, die, check the map and it'll show up. If it has numbers under it, that means that someone else is already captaining it and won't be available to you. So make sure you find a server with one that looks just like this, without any numbers. When you finally find a burning blade that's free, you're gonna have to sink it in order to captain it. Make sure when attacking it, you don't let your boat get too close, and you don't want this to happen for obvious reasons. If you do get set on fire, don't worry. It's not gonna do that much actual damage to your boat. You're just gonna have to spend the next 40 years trying to put it out. Aim for lower deck shots, and eventually the boat will sink, and you can now vote up to captain it. From here, this is similar to the orb method. Just sail to all these skeleton camps around the map, which is shown by this mark under certain islands. A tip for this is to make sure you're heading into wind, as this is gonna save you so much time, as the burning blade without wind basically doesn't move at all. So if you have the option to go to a camp towards wind, pick that camp compared to one against wind. During last double money, I was grinding burning blades for a commendation, and we did 8 camps each time, and it gave us 1,000,000 gold every time we lowered. And this took us around an hour depending on how wind treated us and if we got attacked. Meaning this method, during non-double money obviously, is going to give you half this, which is 500k an hour. For this method though, you are going to want teammates for sure, as doing this method on your own can be incredibly difficult, as the boat is absolutely massive, and if someone attacks you, it's so hard to manage on your own. And honestly, people attacking you is pretty likely, especially once you start to rack up a high enough streak. People are definitely going to want to sink you. Now for number 1, you probably guessed it, it's still Fort of the Dam. This fort is just going to be your best friend for earning gold, and honestly it's going to be hard for a method to beat this. This is the best way you can do it for yourself. First, either vote down a Reaper Emissary or a Guild Emissary. Doing a Reaper Emissary is going to give you a higher bonus on the loot you sell, but if you go for the Guild Emissary, you're going to be able to sell your loot a lot faster. However, you will get a smaller bonus on the loot that you sell when compared to the Reaper. Lately, I've just been going for Guild because I can't be bothered selling for 20 minutes, but the choice is up to you. After this, vote down a Skull of Destiny quest shown here. When you surface, follow the compass to the digging spot, and depending how many forts you want to complete depends on how many skulls you want to dig up, because each one is used to start a fort. After the first one, put down your second quest, and instead of sailing to the island it tells you, just keep cancelling and voting the quest back up until the skull spawns on the island you're already at, which you're going to know by the compass shaking. It's going to save you a bunch of time, as sailing between the islands can be so tedious. It takes 2 forts to get Reapers level 5, so make sure you at least get 2 skulls, plus however more you want to do after that, it's up to you. Then head straight to the Fort of the Dam in the center of the map. From here, just start at the fort by using the colors on the skull and begin defeating waves of enemies. It's a good idea to place a skull on the ground somewhere where you can change the colors to activate the skeletons. Try and save any mega kegs that spawn in the later rounds so you can use them on the final boss. After you finish the first fort, move your loot here so you can harpoon it easily when you're ready to leave. For the kegs that spawn in the vault, don't blow them up. Instead, place them on top of this barrel, which we can then use on the next fort to kill the boss with 1 explosion as soon as he spawns. People often talk about the keg wall here, saying this is the best place to put it, but in my opinion, doing this just means you have to walk the boss all the way from the fort all the way over to this wall. If you just put them on this barrel, you can literally just the second he spawns, blow it up straight away. Just be careful not to blow any kegs up in the area, as they will activate the kegs below the fort. Then start the next fort, same process again, light the skeletons. Then on boss wave, place a keg in the room and blow it up, which you can either sacrifice yourself or light it and run away, whichever you want. And yeah, just keep repeating this for as many skulls you want to dig up, and then sell at Reaper's Hideout when you're ready. Fort of the Dam is going to give you anywhere between 500 to 600k per hour. I've given this one a pretty big range because I know not a lot of crews are going to be able to complete this like efficiently. It gives about 100k each time, and I can complete about 1 every 10 minutes, which is going to equal to about 600k for me. But I know a lot of players are going to struggle, so I'll put it between 500 to 600, which is still insane. And the more you practice it, the faster you're going to get at it, and you're just going to get even faster at it, meaning more gold per hour. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments about any of the methods, or if you disagree with anything, let me know. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and if you're looking for the best ways to farm company levels instead of gold, click this video on screen, as it's going to help you out a lot.